Between 1959 and 1962, between 15 and 55 million people starved to death in China. Not because of drought, not because of flood, not because of any natural disaster, because a government took their food, loaded it onto ships, and exported it to other countries to prove that communism was working, while the people who grew that food died in the villages where they grew it. This is the deadliest famine in recorded human history, and the government responsible has never issued a single official apology. The man who caused it still lies in a glass mausoleum in the center of Beijing, visited by tourists every single day. In 1958, Mao Zedong launched a campaign he called the Great Leap Forward. The plan was to transform China from an agricultural nation into an industrial superpower in 15 years. Every private farm in China was collectivized. Farmers were organized into people's communes. Their land, their tools, and their animals were taken from them and pooled into the collective. They were assigned to work brigades and given production quotas to meet. They had no say, no vote, no option to refuse. And simultaneously, every commune was ordered to produce steel. Backyard furnaces appeared in every village in China. And into those furnaces went cooking pots, farming tools, door hinges, plows, and every piece of metal that could be melted down to meet the steel quota. The farming tools that should have been harvesting food were being melted. The farmers who should have been in the fields were working the furnaces. And the autumn harvest of 1958 rotted in the fields. Then the lies began. And the lies were more deadly than the furnaces. At every level of the Communist Party structure, from village officials to provincial governors, nobody dared report honest harvest figures to their superiors. Reporting failure meant punishment. Reporting failure meant being labeled a rightist. Reporting failure meant labor camps, or worse. So they lied. Village officials reported abundant harvests to county officials. County officials inflated those figures further before reporting to the province. Provincial governors presented numbers to Beijing that bore no relationship to what the fields had actually produced. Officials competed with each other to report the most impressive yields. One county in Hunan province claimed a rice yield of 65,000 kilograms per acre. The true yield was approximately 300 kilograms per acre. Mao sat in Beijing receiving reports of miraculous abundance, while the countryside starved. Based on the false harvest reports, the government set grain collection quotas. Teams of party officials and militia members arrived at every village in China. They took the grain, all of it, or enough of it that what remained could not feed the people who had grown it through the winter. If a village failed to meet its quota, the officials searched homes. They took grain hidden under floorboards. They took the last handful of rice from families with children. They took the seed grain, the grain kept back specifically to plant next year's crop. If a farmer was caught hiding food, he was beaten, sometimes killed, and the food was taken anyway. When people began to die, officials reported the deaths, but not the cause. When villagers tried to leave their communes to find food in the cities, party militia blocked the roads. Internal movement permits were required to travel between districts. Starving people were trapped in the villages where the food had been taken from them. In some provinces of Anhui, Gansu, and Sichuan, entire villages died. Not some residents. Entire villages. Communities of hundreds of people reduced to a handful of survivors within months. People ate bark. People ate roots. People ate the leather from their shoes. In the most extreme documented cases, human beings ate human beings. Not because they were savage, because they were starving in a country that was exporting food. In 1959, Marshal Peng Dehuai, one of China's most senior military commanders and a man who had fought alongside Mao for decades, wrote him a private letter. He told Mao the truth, that the Great Leap Forward was failing, that people were dying, that the grain figures were false, that the policies needed to change. Mao read the letter. He called a party conference, and he had Peng Dehuai publicly denounced, stripped of his military command, sent to work as a laborer on a collective farm. The one man who had told the truth lost everything for telling it. And every other official in China understood the message. Stay silent. Report abundance. Let the people die. The outside world knew almost nothing. Western journalists who visited China were taken to model communes, carefully selected villages where food had been stockpiled for the inspection. They reported progress and abundance. The Soviet Union, which had advisors in China, had some knowledge but said nothing publicly. and China continued to export grain throughout the famine. In 1959, China exported 4.2 million tons of grain. In 1960, it exported 2.7 million tons, the same years in which the famine was killing between 15 and 55 million people. The food was there. It was being loaded onto ships and sent abroad to maintain the appearance of a successful communist state. Mao never apologized. He acknowledged some errors, vaguely, partially, in internal party documents. He retained all power. He launched the Cultural Revolution 4 years after the famine ended, which persecuted anyone who had honestly documented what happened. Peng Dehuai, the man who told the truth, was dragged through public struggle sessions, beaten, and imprisoned. He died in detention in 1974. Mao died in 1976. He had never been investigated, never been charged, never been held accountable for the largest man-made famine in recorded human history. His body was embalmed, placed in a crystal sarcophagus, in a mausoleum on Tiananmen Square, where it remains today, visited daily, honored. The only comprehensive account of the famine, a book called Tombstone written by Chinese journalist Yang Jixing, who spent years secretly researching the death records in provincial archives, is banned in mainland China. You can read it in Hong Kong. You can read it in America. You cannot read it in the country where the famine happened. Because the Chinese Communist Party has never allowed its citizens a full reckoning with what their government did to them between 1959 and 1962. Do you want us to keep naming those responsible for these crimes? Mao Zedong designed and implemented the Great Leap Forward policies that caused the famine. Peng Dehuai told the truth and was destroyed for it. The officials at every level who enforced grain quotas on starving villages, many of whom are unnamed in the historical record because the records were destroyed or sealed. Comment yes below if you want every name in every future video. Now I need to ask you directly, did you know this story before today? Did you know that between 15 and 55 million people starved to death while China was exporting grain? Did you know the man responsible is still officially honored with a mausoleum visited by tourists every day? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Tell me where in the world you are watching from. Because this story happened in living memory. The last survivors of this famine are still alive today, and the government that caused it has never said sorry. Share this video right now. Someone in your life thinks China's deadliest moment was a war. Show them 1959 to 1962. Show them the grain export records. Show them the mausoleum. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, search official The Odd Archive, and turn on notifications. Follow us on TikTok, search official The Odd Archive. Because the next story we are dropping, the cover-up is still active. Documents are still classified. People are still being prevented from speaking about it. And we found what survived the censors.